don't sleep much because I get excited and grateful about everything. Like I'll be lying in bed and midnight, I wake up and go, fantastic, I get to go to training today.
G'day, welcome to the Shake Up podcast. This is a place where we chat with real people and we share stories about the intersection of fitness, self-improvement and happiness. Today I've got a really good mate of mine, Andrew Brenchley, with me. AB?
How you going, Benny?
Good, man.
Good to be here.
It's good to have you here. AB is the CEO and founder of an awesome Gold Coast based company called Everything Outside Playgrounds. These guys are transforming the way kids play in school places. Eddie heads a team who designs and creates unique and exciting playgrounds that make it fun for kids. What I love about this bloke is I've known him for a long time, and I've seen him as a father, and he's a really engaging and devoted father, and you can tell that all of his heart and mind was invested in creating awesome playgrounds for kids. So mate, I'm looking forward to chatting about that and everything else in your life.
Sounds good.
Just tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Well, I'm born and bred in Sydney. I moved up here 15 years ago, and I'm just a local normal bloke and likes the simple things like yourself.
Yep.
Going to the pub and training and hanging out with mates, and I don't take life too seriously. Things are pretty good for me.
Yep.
They've always been good for me. And I'm just a regular fella, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
Married?
Yep, married.
Yep.
15 years. Couple of boys.
Good boys?
Yeah, good kids. Great kids.
How old are the boys?
10 and 11.
11,
Yeah. Love me boys. Took us years to get the boys. I think it took us about 5 years to have kids. We had a few hurdles, and I guess it gives you those couple of years when you're looking down the barrel of not being a dad to work out, how grateful you would be if you could have kids.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of time preparing to be a dad. So I think that's helped me and the boys and my wife. So yeah.
You can see that. And we've talked about that a lot, about being ready to be a parent, and
Yeah.
you can see that in the way you parent. You
I
can tell you love it.
Well, I didn't have kids till I was probably 35, which I guess in this day and age is late.
Yeah.
Like I think my mum had me in the early 20s, and that was the normal in the 70s.
Yeah.
So I guess having kids older gives you time to grow up and to work a few things out.
Yeah, right.
And we were lucky that way. If I would have had kids when they were 20, I think it would have been a different story.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. I just think it would have been a different road.
Yeah.
So I guess it was a blessing in disguise that we were older and it took us that long to have the kids.
Yeah.
So you look back on it now and you think it was a bit of a tough time, but it was well worth it.
Yeah.
Fair run.
Is it a good age that the boys are at now? 10 and 11, it's a good age?
I think it's always a good age. Like I enjoyed them from the minute they were born.
Yeah.
Like, it was always a good age. I know some parents say, when the kids were 7 they were hard, or the tough twos. I never had that.
Yeah.
That was always good, and it's just things were just really good. So, and I'm looking forward to the next 10, 15, 20 years as well. So it's always been good.
Yeah.
It's never been bad years. Not with the boys.
It's great, mate.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I've just been lucky, I guess, to have good kids, and just luck, I guess, maybe.
Healthy kids.
Healthy kids, some good parenting, some good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been tops.
Bringing them up in paradise.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just, the Gold Coast is just the best place ever. I remember I used to come here as a kid. We'd drive up from Sydney. It would take us 2 days to drive back then.
Yeah.
And I used to say to my dad, why don't we live here? Because we lived in Sydney. I said, why don't we live here? I love it here. He goes, you can't live here.
Yeah.
And then you go home.
Yeah.
You think, I don't know, why can't you live here?
Well,
Other people live here.
Yeah.
And you drive back to Sydney for 2 days. And then when I guess I was old enough to get here, I did. But that's, when I was 25, that was the time to come up here. And I'd never go back.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Tell us, how long have you been training with the Shake Up for?
4 years today.
Is it?
Yeah, so 14th of March 2016, which is 4 years ago, Paul, my mate, picked me up and dragged me here. And I thought it'd be okay, 20 minutes. I think it was advertised as 20-minute boot camp. You think, 20 minutes, I won't even turn my car off, It's only 20 minutes, leave my jacket on. And he used to talk about, because I've known Paul for a lot of years, and he used to talk about it, this boot camp thing, and I just didn't really care because I was more interested in, eating burgers, and I just, used to talk about it and think, oh, bloody hell. And then I saw him in February 2016, he came up as Shaker of the Month, and I thought, bloody hell, if he can do it, I'm going to give it a go. So he always wanted to get me here, and he picked me up on the Monday morning 4 years ago, and I came, and I was flogged. I had to take the day off work, and I sat in my pool shaking all day going, what the hell was that? Do I go back? I've got a 7-day free trial. This is day one, I'm not going to make it. And I remember being at Crossroads thinking, what do I do? Like, that was just not what I thought. I was just, you get in here, it's like, all right, we're going to do 100 push-ups and 100 this and 100 that. I'm like, oh, no, this is not for me. It's like, get into it. So I went back, and then I thought, past the 7-day trial, I thought, well, what do I do now? I've got to buy, I can't, sign up for a year. What if I don't like it? We've all signed up for a year and not liked it. So you get a 3-month pass, and then you just keep going from there. And next thing you know, it's 4 years.
4 years.
It's been 4 years today, and it's been life-changing. I've got like 50 new friends that I didn't have 4 years ago, and they're great friends, all same mindset, and some of the business friends as well, and some of them are training friends, and you hang out with some at the pub and hanging out training, so it's just been life-changing. So I've been doing it for 4 years. Have
you ever done have you exercised in the past? Has that been a big part of your life in the past? No. I guess when I was 12, I joined the soccer team. Mum signed me up for the soccer team back in Sydney. And I was never really good. I had 2 left feet, so I was always the guy on the bench. So I was always the reserve. So the coach would say, put everyone in their positions. I'd be sending them a little jersey, and they'd be like, all right, Andy, you're on the bench. And it went on for the whole season. I still had the oranges at half time, but I never got a run. So I remember we made the grand final. It was the best grand final I never played in. And I was watching it, and I remember the team photo at the end, and I got a trophy still. And my jersey was perfect creases, probably still had the tags on. Well, everyone else was filthy. They'd done the whole season, and I just thought it was fantastic. I never got a run. Back those days, things were different. You can't do that now. You probably end up in court. The coach would be in court, but I was just like, oh yeah, I'll be on the bench, and if someone breaks their leg, I'll go and save the day. No one ever broke their leg. So I didn't really do much. Did a bit of athletics here and there, a bit of swimming. Yeah. But yeah. And then as an adult, did you ever exercise?
No. I just missed it, So I probably I didn't start, so 4 years ago I was 42. So I started when I was 42.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I had a pretty unhealthy lifestyle. I used to, drink and smoke a lot, and eat a lot of fast foods, and just love happy hour was my favourite pastime. That was my thing. If I ever ran, it was to the bar when they were calling last drinks. That was my exercise. So no. So I didn't know what hit me when I was 42. So you watch it all the Olympics, think, oh, that's tough. Wouldn't want to be him. And then you're at the shake up, and it's like, oh geez, I've got to do something. I don't want to die young.
Yeah, right.
It just gets addictive, and it really is addictive.
It's funny. It's remarkable that you can go from not really having a history in exercise to just flicking the switch one day, and then you've been training like really consistently for 4 years, turning up 6 sessions a week.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing to flick the switch like that. And
well, I got some time to make up over the years. I got like 20 years of bad diet and fat and man boobs. So I've got some catching up to do. That's why I'm here every day.
And you think it helps? I mean, clearly it helps to have a community you connect with that goes alongside with the exercise.
Yeah, I think so. Everyone here is very similar. Like there's never a really bad word said here. Everyone is very encouraging. So I think the community is the best thing about it. I mean, we're not all here to be the fittest person in the world.
Yeah.
Everyone's here for different things.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not here to get the 6-pack and to look in the mirror and and to look like to get the guns. I'm here for a lot of reasons, and training, and if health and fitness is just probably 20% of it.
Yeah, right.
I'm here for the mateship. I'm here because it gives me discipline in other parts of life.
Yeah.
And to hang out with really good people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all we want to do, is just hang around really good people.
Yeah.
And what else are you going to do at 6 a.m? I mean, watch Koshi. Either way, you got pain here or watching Koshi on sunrise. You might as well come here. So just come here.
That's good, man. It's good. You talk about discipline, and that's you and I have talked about that a lot, how this environment for you helps you with discipline in other areas of your life.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that. Like,
I've never had really discipline before anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, you sort of like just go along in life and just whatever happens. But what I've found is discipline. I like the shake up a lot because it's forced me to have discipline, and I think discipline, once you get it somewhere, it spews out to the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So it's given me discipline for all other areas of fatherhood, business, and things like that. So that's a major thing I've got out of the last 4 years, which is not something you would expect if you're signing up to a boot camp. You don't think I'm signing up for the discipline. You know, most people sign up for the health and fitness benefits.
Yeah.
And then once you do that for a while and your life changes, then other things good comes from it. And the best thing I've got is discipline, for sure.
great.
Yeah. And it's something that once you start, you sort of like, you've got it. I think you've got it for life.
Yeah, you build it in.
It's built in.
Tell us, like, your business is sort of a bit unconventional. It's an exciting business. Tell us, like, you know, everyone wants to have a job that they love and that they're passionate about and they can pour their imagination and creativity into.
Yeah.
You've sort of got that.
Yeah.
How did you get that? How did you?
Well, by accident.
Did you?
So I've always been an employee. And it's only a couple of years ago, and I ran a landscaping job. Like I was a manager of a big landscaping business that was like in Sydney and Brisbane and Melbourne, and I'd been doing it for for years. But I was with this current employer for like nearly 10 years, about 2 months off 10 years, and I think a lot of employees and people want to start their own business, but what stops them is cash or not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people want to have their own business, but you think, I don't know what to do. People are like that till they're 60, 70, 80.
Yeah.
60-year-olds still don't know what they want to do. And I always knew I wanted to do something. And it came to me in a dream. This sounds really, really funny, but I remember sitting bolt right up in bed one morning thinking, I had this dream. I'm like, I've got to start this business, and it's got to be called Everything Outside. And I want to, do landscape projects in schools, and I've got to start straight away. And it was just really strange. And I thought about it for a minute, and I thought, because everything came to me, like the whole business plan and the name of the business and what I wanted to do came to me in my head. So I pretty much woke up and I had it all.
Wow.
And then I thought, I'm going to check if the name's available. So I went to the ASIC website and the business name was available. So yeah, tick that box. And then the website was available, so I ticked that box and thought, okay, so now it's just up to me to work out if I'm going to do it. But it was funny because at the time I was getting paid like 250 grand a year. Like, it was a lot of money to leave, and I'd been there nearly 10 years, so I was like about 2 months off my long service leave, and it was a very good secure job, and I actually didn't mind it.
It's a big decision.
Well, I also had a lot of credit card debt. Like, I had about 100 grand worth of credit card debt, and 100 grand credit card debt, paying the interest on that a month is a lot of money. So you sort of like think, I've got a lot to lose here. I've got 2 young kids, I've got a wife, I've got a mortgage, so you can't stuff this up if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to leave now and leave 20 or 30 grand on the table as your long service leave.
Wow.
And I spoke to Leah about it, my wife, and she gave me the thumbs up, which was good. And then I spoke to a couple of other people I trust about it, and they're like, just go for it. So I resigned and I pretty much went for it. And I remember being quite nervous in the beginning, thinking, this has to work. Like, I've just given up this big job, I've got debts to pay, I've got mortgages, this has to work. And I got out of the guns really, really hard. So I guess I had this sense of urgency, and the day I left my job, pretty much I started the next day. So what I did is I got onto the internet and I found every single private school from, I think, Coffs Harbour to up to Fraser Coast, and I rang them all and went door knocking, and with my little cheap suit and my business card, that's all I had, and said, can you give me a go? I can do landscape projects, which was, paving, artificial grass, retaining walls, turfing, because that was sort of my background. And schools gave me a go, and I think I worked out in the first 3 months, I think we did about 100 grand worth of turnover. It was the Easter holidays, and I just went for it, and it was just crazy. And I thought, well, I'm glad I quit my job and didn't hang around for my long service of 20 or 30 grand, because I've just made like 100 grand turnover in 3 or 4 months just by going for it. So I just went door knocking, I was cold calling, and you get doors slammed in your face and you get told to nick off, but it just had to work. So we just did that. And then after a while, I felt like I hit a wall with the business, and I needed a bit of an angle because there's a few competitors doing landscaping in schools and stuff. So I thought I need to do something bigger and better. I don't want to do a $5,000 turfing job or, I was sick of schools ringing me and saying, "Oh, I've got 3 pavers, come and fix them." You think, "Oh God, $30 job." I want something different, and I want to be able to stand out from the crowd. So some of the schools started asking me about playgrounds, and do you know how to audit playgrounds, and do you know how to fix playgrounds? And it's its own little world with its own little rules and regulations, and I didn't know how to do it, so I did a course down in Adelaide on how to audit playgrounds, and I started doing that, and then started fixing them, and then I got asked to do a couple of little dry riverbeds, and I thought that was good. So what happened was I did this dry riverbed up at All Saints, up here on the Gold Coast, and it was pretty good. And I took some photos of it, and I made a newsletter, and I sent it to my database that I'd made over the last year or two from being in business, and I got about $1 million worth of work. Wow. And some of these playgrounds were really big. They're like, "Yeah, we want to spend $250,000 on these towers and slides and all that." And I'm like, yep, sure, we can do that. I'm thinking, how do I do that? But we built a team and worked out how to do it, and we built it. We did all the work over probably about 4 months, and then we took photos of that and filmed that and got that out there and got that out there and got that out there. So we're very present on social media because it's really good for our business. So that's how we've sort of grown to where we are, by just taking things small and doing things a bit different. And as we grow and the business gets bigger, we come up with new things, and we have a bit more money to invest in new ideas and to new engineers and to work out different products and things like that, and just really put it out there. And we just love it.
It's great. I was looking at some of your stuff last night on your website, and you got to see just the how different it is, and how much you can see the craftsmanship in it all. It's really unique, isn't it? You got to check it out if you haven't. It's everything outside.com.au.
Yeah,
It's great. It's just great images. Great. If I was a kid going to school these days, can you imagine playing in that?
Yeah. Well, that's where we get our ideas from. Like a lot of playground companies with the steel and plastic stuff turn up with their catalogue and say, "Here's what we got." But the way we do it is we have a consultation team. So we'll go in and we'll say to the teacher, "Give me 10 kids." We all sit in a room and we say, "What do your kids want?" And some of them say, "We want fireworks and monorails and snow machines." It's like, okay, it's the middle of summer. I don't think I can do that. And then you get down to the nitty gritty, and they want teepees and they want really good stuff. And then you get all these ideas and you go and draw them up, and then you bring them back photos and say, "Is this it?" And they're like, "Yep." And they get involved in like this little consultation team. And then at the end, when you have photos, we get them back in, and we take the photos of them and we send it out, and we make books for their parents of the kids in there. And so, yeah, we get them all involved.
Is that how the outdoor classrooms came about, or is it?
No. So the outdoor classrooms, that's just something that I thought of. I from the research I've done, is that kids don't learn the best in the classroom. Like to get them out in nature and to learning them in an outdoor environment is better for their focus, and to take it all in instead of being in a classroom all day. So I just developed 1 or 2 concepts, and some of the schools ran with it, and now there's quite a big demand for like treehouse type learning and outdoor classrooms. So in the next 12-18 months you'll see a lot more of that style classroom, where it's just like a big massive treehouse that's no windows and there's no seats, like you just might sit on the floor on a rug, but there's still a proper curriculum, and that room is used each day by different classes. It might be 6 or 7 classes a day by different age students just getting outside. So I just think it's the way of the future, and we're just designing like crazy and getting them out there and coming up with wild ideas and doing what we can. I really think it's going to be big.
So cool, man.
Yeah, I love it. As soon as I mentioned it, like I went to a school a few months ago, and they're like, "We want a playground over there." And I'm like, "Well, you got one over there, how about an outdoor classroom?" And then they're like, "Yeah, let's just do that." So the whole budget goes now to this outdoor classroom, and the playground stays. Yeah. So teachers are actually getting on board with it as well, because I think it's a really good idea.
Well done. What would you say is particularly in the business or personal, like what's your role in the business now, and what's your greatest asset to the business, would you say?
Well, I've worked out I'm no good on the tools. And that's based on feedback. If you need to build anything, I can only offer a 5-minute warranty. So that's why I get the guys to do it, you know. I think my superpower is sales and marketing.
Yeah.
So that's where I spend my time. I think the best business decision I made a few years ago was to get off the tools and to focus on what I was good at and get some people that were good on the tools to do that.
Yeah.
So we invested in operations manager and a team to do that while I did design and did the consultation. So sales and marketing.
Yeah.
So our strike rate is really high. Like our strike rate's probably about 90%. So I know that if I've got a 90% chance of winning a job, then you can put a lot of time and effort and have a better proposal.
Yeah.
And spend more time with the people you need to. So sales and marketing,
And
that's pretty much all I do. Like I'm pretty good at delegating.
Yeah.
And it's a mixture between being a smart businessman and being lazy. I'm somewhere in between, you know. So I just do the things I really want to do and the things I'm really good at, and everything else I've got people to do. So that's what I do.
And if I had to ask you, like, underlying all of that, if there was character traits that you bring to life and business that help you delegate and drive sales and create great marketing, what would it be?
I don't know.
Communication?
I guess I'm pretty honest and upfront.
Yeah.
I've told principals in top schools that their ideas stink, and I think they actually like it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people's ideas stink.
They need to hear it.
Yeah. So I'm honest with people, but in a nice way, respectful way.
There's a diplomatic way to do it, and I think
there is,
you do that
and
well.
you learn that by mistake.
Yeah.
So I think just being upfront and honest,
Yeah.
and having a really good reputation. Like, everyone in the schools knows each other, which is a really good thing, but it can be a bad thing if you don't do the right thing. So when I'm dealing with one school, I'm actually dealing with all of them, because they all know each other and they're all going to talk. And you've got to keep that in mind
It's good.
when you make decisions on site, or how you're going to talk to them and things like that. Yeah.
What would you say is your greatest challenge right now? It could be in business, in life. Just
Well, the thing that's scaring me at the moment, and it's come out of the blue, is this coronavirus. And I know it's actually quite, everyone's sick of hearing it, but only because, like, I've only been in this business for a few years, and it's like affected the whole world, and it's came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like last week we had toilet rolls, and now we don't, because people are mugging each other to get dunny rolls, and it's the whole world is in lockdown and things are changing. So I'm just really, that's my focus. Like, you might do a business plan for the next 12 months, but if this happens, what are you going to do now?
Yeah.
Like, what if schools suddenly want to shelve all their projects until this blows over? And when is it going to blow over?
Yeah.
You know? At least when they had 9/11 a few years ago, which was terrible, it was just a matter of time before people got their confidence back.
Yeah.
Because it was a one event on that day. This is like, when's it going to end? How long is it going to go for? The media build it up to maybe something bigger than it is. I don't know. But I think the economic problem is going to be bigger than the actual health problem. And it's only, I only feel like it's only been around this week, and people are making big decisions.
In a week.
You know, and businesses are closing down and things like that. So I'm just keeping an eye on it and just wondering what to do in regards to our business and seeing how it's going to roll out.
Yeah.
We're lucky we've got quite a big run of schools to do. You know, we've got projects booked up for quite a while. But after that, I just don't know what's going to happen. I'll know more in the next couple of weeks. I think we all will.
Yeah, good point. And it's a pretty current challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, so last week, if you would have asked me that, it would have been, I don't know, I don't know what my biggest problem is at the moment, but this week, that seems to be the problem of the month, or that I feel like I need to spend my energies on, which is quite boring, coronavirus, like, I think.
It'll be interesting to see. We watch this podcast in 6 months' time, and we'll know,
Yeah. Well, even by the time it goes to air, in a week or two, like, it could be totally different. We could be all at Centrelink. Might be here talking about how great the business is, but I could be watching it on someone else's iPhone at Centrelink. Who knows? That's the scary bit. It's just uncertain.
Hey, I get a lot of time with you. I see you at training regularly. You're a positive bloke. You always seem to be upbeat and on your game. Are you always like that?
Yeah. I don't know what happened, you know. Like I've always had the really big spring in my step, even when I was a young fella. Like I don't know I don't know how I got to here. Like when I was young, I remember being beaten up and being bullied, and like back in the 70s and 80s as a kid, things were different to what they are now. You know, like being clipped over the ear by strangers was just the norm. Now you can't do it. So I was, you know, not that happened to me a lot, but I was like I was bullied a lot, and I was a bit of a smart aleck, and you know I was terrible at school, but I just didn't care. I was always, you know, it's like nothing could break me. You know, you'd get your letterbox blown up, and someone would punch you in the head and be like, "Oh well, you know, I'm gonna go watch Skippy now," you know. So I don't know. Yeah, I've always had a real good spring in my step. Not much can belt me down.
It's lucky.
It's lucky. I don't know where the resilience comes from. It's just lucky. I think it's luck. Because it's always been this way, and I don't know, maybe it's good parenting from my parents, or I don't know.
There's got to be something.
There's something there, you know. Like I was born, you know, to a decent family in Manly Beach in Sydney. You know, it's all up from there. Like you could have been born anywhere at any point of time, or could have been born in Syria, you know, or anywhere. So you're born in the 70s in Manly in Sydney. Like things are up. Things are starting off really well for you. You know.
Do you have? I always like to ask. You know, everyone's at some level. Everyone's got an inner critic or something they that beats himself up about business, about whatever it is, life. Do you have anything? Do you have a critic that you ever deal with internally?
No, I don't. I feel like I've got more of a cheer squad. Which I know it sounds a bit strange, but I always feel like there's, you know, like this someone looking over me, like you can do it, that's great, you know, things are good, or you know that guy's great. No, I think things are good. Like I've always felt really good about myself, and I guess that's something hopefully I can pass on to my kids. Because if you want your kids to be anything, it's for them to feel good about themselves, because when they feel good about themselves they can do anything, and they're going to feel great. It doesn't matter if they're going to be have a no job or the greatest job. If they feel good about themselves, then that's the best thing they can have. So I've always luckily felt great about myself, even when, you know, like I wasn't a very smart kid. The only A I got in my report is in my name. So everything was D, E, and some of the comments back then are brutal, like, this guy's terrible, you know, not worth feeding. You know, you read the school report back then, there's no tippy-toeing. It's just like, don't bring him back. Get him a job as soon as you can. Keep him at home. This guy stinks. Like, and I just never really cared. I was just like, oh well, you know, no problem. Things, I don't know, just never cared.
How do you talked about your boys, and as a father, how do you, apart from, or maybe that's the only way, just leading by example, is there a way that you can encourage that kind of mental resilience and just happy-go-lucky attitude in your kids, like actively, or is it just a...
I think one of the things that I have thought about this, one of the things that I had, and I do talk about my childhood a lot, because I spent a lot of time thinking about it, because my childhood was good, and I think that's a lot of who I am now is because of what happened back then. And you sort of like think, well, what can I do now for my kids that I sort of had to replicate in the 2020s, because things are a bit different. One of the things that I was allowed to do was to sort of like roam. You know, back then you could roam and you could do stuff, and you weren't helicoptered, and you had to look after yourself. Like if there was a stink at the school, you know, now everyone runs to their principal or to their lawyer, you know, or something. You sort of had to sort it out yourself, and that sometimes meant you'd cop a punch in the head. I'm not saying I condone that, but you had to sort problems out themselves. So what I'm trying to do with my kids now is let them sort their own stuff out. So I'll see them arguing with other kids and not getting on, and the natural thing to do is to run over and try and intervene. But the best thing I can do, I think, for my boys, because we had to do it back then because our parents were so busy working, was to sort our stuff out for themselves. And I think it helped a lot in later life. As a kid, sorting out your own problems and being able to, like, we used to ride miles away from home when we were like 8 or 9 years old, and you come back when the street lights are on. You can't do that now because you think someone's going to take your kid, and it might happen.
It's the fear, isn't it?
It's
That's
the
the
fear.
ultimate fear. Yeah.
But back then, I think it was really good for us to be able to roam and do our stuff and play in creeks and things like that. And you'd, sort your mate, out and have, if he was giving you a hard time. And I think it was really good for us. So I'm trying to do a lot of that without being a helicopter parent, because it's easy being a helicopter parent these days with everything you hear.
Is it tough to let the boys just go and do their thing without stressing them?
Absolutely. It's hard. It's a really hard thing for me to conquer at the moment. Like even when they want to go and play up the street. Yeah. And they're like, go to their mates 2 doors down. I'm like, oh, maybe I should walk you. Yeah. They're like nearly 12. Yeah. It's like you just want to walk. But when I was 12, I was gone all day for 8 hours and no one would see you. Yeah. You know, so it's really tough, the transition of me trying to let go, even though I was let go. Yeah. Because I know it's good for them, but you still like worry.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's tough.
Mate, tell us, have you got like a crazy, quirky adventure or something weird that's happened to you in life that you can share with us?
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah, but there is a lot. But probably the thing that changed my life and had the biggest impact, which I still look back now, 15 years later, and go, wow, can't believe I did that. So I used to live in Sydney, and I had a good job in Sydney, and I was married, not to Lee, to someone else, and I was just really unhappy. I just didn't like my job, didn't want to be married. I only been married a few months. Wow. And I just never liked Sydney. And I just thought, what am I going to do? And I was probably 25, maybe 20. No, I was about 28. I thought, I'm just going to pack my car and go. I'm just going to end things with my wife, tell my employer that I don't want to be here anymore, and then just go. So I ended things with my wife. I told my employer that I need to leave, and I just remember thinking, I'm just going to take everything I can fit in my car. I'm not going to get the big removalist thing, and that's it. I'm starting a new life. Wow. And I packed my car, and I remember stopping at my mum and dad's, and they're like, oh, what are you doing here? And I'm like, well, I've got something to tell you. Oh, I'm leaving my wife and my job in Sydney, and I'm heading to the Gold Coast. Now there's I think they had a heart attack. Wow. They couldn't believe it, because I didn't tell anyone. I was just had enough. And I knew it was going to be the best thing for me. And I did that, and it was pretty tough, because people think you're having a nervous breakdown at 28, and everyone's ringing you going, what's going on? Yeah. Like, you're on holiday? When are you coming back here? And I'm like, no, this is it. I've just decided to change my whole life. I just wasn't happy. And then I had a bit of money back then, so I did nothing for about a year, just to think about what I want to do and what's going to happen. And then I just... were you on the Gold Coast? You drove up to the Gold Coast? I drove to the Gold Coast, and I stayed with my auntie and uncle for a few weeks, and then I rented a place at Tugun Beach, and just did a lot of soul searching and walking along the beach, just thinking, what do I want in life? What am I going to do? What was that all about? It was pretty big thing for me, and I still look back thinking, that was really a big thing to do. I mean, people leave their jobs and partners all the time and move all the time, but I sort of did it all in one day, and it seemed like a really big, quick change. I feel like I changed my whole life. I lost a few friends over it. They just thought I was a bit crazy, and I don't know. But it was, looking back on it now, it's the absolute best thing I've ever done. Yeah. I'm just so glad I did it. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So but it was so hard. And you've been on the Gold Coast since then? I've been here since that was like 2003. Wow. So that's, I don't know, 17 years. Yeah. I had to go back to Sydney for 18 months for a job, that job that I left after nearly 10 years. So I went back to do that, but then I got transferred back to the Gold Coast. Wow. And we bought a house. So yeah, that was if I think of anything, and I still look back thinking, I don't know how I had the guts to do all that. That was really courageous. That was really big of me. Yeah. And I don't really do big things. Yeah. But that was big for me. But I'm really proud. That's probably my proudest moment, you know, as well. Like people, if someone said, what's your proudest moment? Most people say my kids. Yeah. And, I'm very proud being a dad and having kids, and I'm proud of my boys, but I'm actually proud of myself to get out of that situation when a lot of people would have stayed or thought, this is it now. Yeah. So I'm really proud that I made that decision. And looking back on it, I think, wow, that was a big thing to do. It's a lot easier to not act and just live unfulfilled, and yep. And I don't understand when people say that. They're like, oh, I hate my job. I'm thinking, well, just change. Get another job.
Yeah.
Or I hate where I live. Well, move.
Yeah.
Like, you're not a tree.
Yeah.
You're not stuck there forever. Just get up and move.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that. And I think we've all got friends that have complained about their job for 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, still the same complaints. They're still sitting in the same seat and they still hate their boss. You just think, what's going on? Like, you don't have to do this.
Must be tiring.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to listen to because I just think I'm just a bit of a man of action. I think if you don't like something, you just change it.
Yeah.
Because we're not here for that long. So just get up and change.
Find something new.
Yeah. Or work out how to make it a happier situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you meet Leah?
Work.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the 90s, we worked together in Sydney in a landscaping business.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she was on the Gold Coast when you came back up, or was she in Sydney still?
No, she was in Sydney as well.
Okay.
She was in Sydney as well.
And she moved up here.
Yeah, I moved up here, and then she followed a few months later.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then we started hanging out, and didn't know anyone else.
Yeah.
So we used to go to the casino and have a few beers, and
Yeah.
then we just started dating.
You obviously like one another's company.
Yeah, yeah. I think we were lucky because we worked together for 5 years before we actually hooked up.
Yeah.
And I think, and since we worked in the same office, we saw each other every day and had meetings every day. And for 5 years, you really get to know someone if you're working under one roof.
Yeah.
So I think that's the advantage that we had, is that we had a really good friendship before we actually got together.
Yeah.
So you know the good, the bad, and the ugly about each other.
Yeah.
You know, so just I guess we had that advantage that some others don't.
Yeah.
I think the chances of meeting your partner at work are really high.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
unless you work by yourself. It was very hard to pick up at school because I went to an all-boys school. You know, very hard to date at an all-boys school.
Mate, tell us, tell us about. Do you think about your values at all? Like things that, what would you say is your greatest value?
I think gratitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just, I'm just really grateful for everything, and I think I don't sleep much because I get excited and grateful about everything. Like I'll be lying in bed at midnight, I wake up and go, fantastic, I get to go to training today, or oh fantastic, I'm seeing my cousin today, or fantastic, I'm taking the kids to the skate park, or fantastic, like everything's great. And I'm just really grateful about everything around me. So I think it was the best value I have, is just being grateful about just every little thing.
Yep.
Because everything is, to me, is just, everything's good.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful for having 2 legs and 2 arms, and may as well use them, and grateful for having everything, a house and a wife and kids, and fit and healthy. So I'm just really grateful. So that's the biggest value I think I have.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And do you share that with the kids? Like, is that something that you?
Yeah. We talk a lot. We spend a lot of time together, and we talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's if there's one thing you can instill in the kids, it's that ability to be grateful for just the smallest things. If you can, it's such an amazing value to have. If you can cultivate that, then
I don't think you think about it until you're a bit older. Like
Yeah.
I don't ever remember being grateful as a 8-year-old.
Things
I
just
just
happen.
remember being a really happy kid, and things were, went my way. But I always saw the brighter side to things. I've always had this ability to know when someone's right or wrong. So when I remember being really young, and an adult mistreating me, not in a bad way, but going on like a pork chop, and I was thinking, well, they're wrong, and I'm right, and that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And I've always had that instinct for that, and I don't know where that came from, but it's served me well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's great, man.
And it's not something you can sort of like, those things I don't know how you pass on to your kids.
No.
They sort of just, I'm hoping that the boys are going to be grateful for things, but it's not something they're really thinking about, because at the moment they're thinking about, a lot of kids are thinking, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
So that's not really a grateful way, it's just, they're just getting by on what's in it for me.
That's how they are.
That's how they are. That's how they're wired, and I expect that.
Yeah.
And hopefully when they're older, they'll be able to actually see the value and of the things that I'm hoping they will be grateful for.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be grateful for.
Yeah, totally.
Living on the Gold Coast, or living in Australia.
Yeah.
In this time.
Lucky kids.
Lucky kids, absolutely.
What do you What do you do for fun?
Take my caravan away.
Yeah, cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
I finally worked out how to switch off.
Yeah.
How to switch off. It's only just happened to me, I reckon, this year. So I take my caravan, like I took it away for 4 days last week, and I don't think I thought one thing about much.
Yeah.
Not about work, nothing, no issues, I was just there in the moment. And it's sort of just happened to me now. And I don't know how that switch has happened, but that's what I love doing. That's how I relax and that's how I have fun. So this year I'm committed to, taking my van away every month, because I take it away a lot, because it's like that recharge.
Yeah.
And I think it's good for us.
So
just
good
to walk in nature and just have not much going on in your head.
Yeah.
If you can do it in this crazy world,
for a few days in a row. Yeah.
as often as you can.
Yeah.
And just be with the people you're with and where you're at. I think it's a really good thing to do if you can do it.
Yeah. My other question was going to be, how do you relax? And I guess that's probably one of the ways, I guess.
Yeah. It's the same thing. But I go to the beach a lot. That's relaxing.
Do, don't you?
Yeah, I do. It's my it's another place where I can switch off.
Yeah.
Probably what I like about the shake up, because for that 30 minutes you're not thinking about anything else.
Yeah.
Like you're not thinking about what you're having for dinner or the guy that upset you, or you're just there in the moment. And you actually just coping and trying to get by. Yeah. And when you start put your key in your car to drive off, that's when reality kicks in again. It's like, oh, that's right. You know, your mind like opens up to the rest of the world, but when you're training, it's just not. And I think that's part of the addiction that you don't see coming. When you think of training, you think, I'm going to do burpees, it's going to be hard. But the other benefits are the fact that you're actually meditating for half an hour, because your mind is just focusing on what you're doing and trying to get by and try not to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
point.
And I've spoken to other people that train as well who said the same thing.
Yeah.
That one of the benefits they get from it is the fact that they're just like locked out to the whole world and they're just there in the moment.
You don't have your phone, you don't have your life.
You got no phone. You're just there with a bunch of good people, just switching off and just doing something really good for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
What's you talked about one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and I'm going to ask you. You've covered it already when you talked about up and leaving. Is that, you said that was your proudest moment? I was going to ask you what's your proudest moment?
Yeah. At the time, it was. It felt like a must, but now looking back, and it took me a while to work out that it was a proudest moment. Like, it's not something you drive up in your car thinking, I'm really proud of doing this. No, you're actually in a bit of a world of pain, thinking, I don't know what's going to happen. Is this the right thing to do? Should I be doing this? What are the people going to think of me? How am I going to pay the bills? Where am I going to live? So at that time, you're just thinking, you're in a world of pain. And you're changing your whole life. I've got no doctor up here, no dentist, no hairdresser, no anything. So. But looking back on it now, it's
10
absolutely.
10 years later or 15 years later, you look back and go, wow.
It took me a while to probably when I worked out that my life was really settled and good here, and it did take a few years. Just to change that, it takes a while to settle in your mind and in your whole life. So I reckon probably about maybe 5 years after doing it, I was really proud looking back on it then. So at the time it was scary, but 5 years, it took about 5 years before I thought that was a really big thing, and I'm so proud I did it. And since then, nothing has really trumped it. Starting the business was a bit of a stretch, but it certainly wasn't, and I'm proud of it, but changing my whole life back then seemed to be a bigger thing for me, because you can sort of, starting your own business is good. Anyone can sort of do that, or most people can do that. But getting to change my whole life was certainly the proudest thing I've ever done. And nothing's trumped it then since.
It's great, man.
Yeah.
What do you have goals for the next 12 months, or what are you excited about for the next 12 months?
Yeah. So I don't really set goals, right? I think goals and targets, I know people do it. I've got probably a different word for it. I sort of have commitments. Yeah. To me, a goal or a target is something to aim for, but doesn't mean you're really going to get it. So if I say my aim is to have 5 training sessions this week, you know, it sort of means I'm going to try and do it. But if I'm going to commit to it, then it's a stronger bond.
Yeah.
So I guess I have commitments. So my commitments this year is I do want to train a bit more. I'm trying to hit, I think, $3 million in turnover in the business. That's a commitment that I'm making. And in this crazy time with the whole Corona thing, I need to change strategies to make sure I get there.
Yep.
I want to certainly spend more time with the family camping and friends camping, and they're the things I'm committed to this year because they're the things that are good for me. I've got health and family and fitness and business, you know, are my commitments for this year.
Make the most of them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is there an area in your life, like you've got a lot of good stuff going on, where would you say is the area in your life where you need to improve most?
I think I can be more productive.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we're put on this earth to be productive, and sometimes I'm not productive. So I need to be more productive sometimes. Yeah. That's if there's something I think about that I need to improve on.
What's holding you back from being productive?
I don't know. It's just something I've got to work on this year. It's been a bit of it's been on my mind for a while, but I need to work on it. I feel like I am very productive and from the outside point of view, people probably think I'm really productive with the way I conduct myself. Yeah. But internally, my internal mechanisms, I think I could do more. I could do more and be more productive.
It's the mindset of every small business owner, isn't it?
I think so.
He's constantly looking for more.
I think we've all got something.
Yeah.
I think we've all got something. It's not a big deal, but it's something that I need to work on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have those moments? Personally, I think it's one of my biggest self-criticisms is that I'm not getting enough done all the time, and then often I'll have a moment where I'll catch myself or have something that demonstrates how much I've done, and you think, wow, I've got a lot done in those 12 months or 6 months, and it sort of puts it into perspective for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, from your seat, it often looks like, you've just got all these, especially when you're ambitious and you want to get a lot done, it's you're constantly chasing, aren't you?
Well, I feel like I've got the time to do it.
Yeah.
I just got to snap to it.
Yeah. This is a good question I like to ask everyone I chat with. Who's been, I know you've had a lot of mentors in your life, who's been your biggest motivator or your biggest inspiration, would you say?
Well, I've had three. So I wasn't really close to my dad at all. My dad and I were never engaged with each other. I don't really remember having many conversations with him from a young age. So I feel like I've had these three men at the right time that have turned up. I've had when I was a young teenager, I had a guy that I worked with at the golf course. So I did an apprenticeship as a golf course when I was 16, and I kept getting sacked. I've been sacked more times than anyone, I think, but I kept coming back. So the guy would sack me because I used to do silly things. I rolled trucks and I'd do, and he'd say, "You're sacked, and you're never coming back." And the next day I'd be back. I'd be like, "Oh." So I kept coming back, and I probably got sacked about 5 times. But I had this guy, one guy was a mechanic there, and I was 16, so I left school pretty early. I was at one of these private schools where you had to be invited back into year 10, and they're like, "You're not invited back." I'm like, okay, because I was, terrible student, all D's, and they wasn't good for their reputation to drag D students through 11 and 12, and I didn't want to do it anyway, so I just wasn't invited back. So I wrote to all my local golf courses I wanted to do greenkeeping, and I got a job, and there was a mechanic there, I think I was 15 when I started, who really took me under his wing, and I think it was the right time. 15 is one of those, you could go either way. What are you going to do? You're going to go this way in your life, or you want to go that way in your life? And I was probably could have gone anywhere. And he was a really good family man. And some of the guys we worked on the golf course were, undesirable, I guess. And he was just a real clean-cut, good family man. Had plenty of kids, and he just mentored me through the whole 4 years, and was just and he kept me on track for those till I was about 19. And he was just like, if I had any problems, I went to him. He helped me fix my car because he was a good mechanic, and he's just a really good guy for that age. And then when I left the golf course, I started another job in Sydney, and I had an old guy there that was really wise and funny. He was funny, and I think, he was probably 60. Tommy, his name was, and he's probably one of the biggest ones I had out of these men, because he was just so happy and funny, and he'd have accidents and he'd get up and laugh, and he was just the happiest guy I've ever met. Smoked like a chimney. I think that's where I started, just hanging around him. And he just taught me, and he'd always take me under his wing if things were wrong, and he'd ring me on the weekend to make sure I was okay. And he's just a great guy. And then when I got older, I left Sydney and I moved here, and I had my uncle here, who was just fantastic, and he's sort of been there ever since. So I feel like I've had these three great men for since I was 15, and they're really good father figures, and they are good dads and good husbands, and they've just always been there for me. And I think I'm probably the average of those three.
Yeah, right.
So if you were to meet these three men and spend some time with them, you'd think, I can see how Andy became how he is by hanging around these three great men. And I've been lucky to go back and thank some of these men recently, because I've lost touch with two of them, and I've made contact with them over the last couple of months. And I'm like I said, and I remember ringing Tommy, and Tommy's old. Tommy's 90, I think now.
Wow.
And he's still going, and I can't believe he's still going.
Still smoking?
No, he gave up the ciggies, and he's lost like 30 kilos, and he's retired. I'm like, I can't believe he's still alive. And it took me ages to track him down, because he's not on Facebook. He's 90.
Yeah.
I think he's got a phone on the wall with the dialy things, And it took me ages. I had to go through like 10 different people to find out where he was, and then he's had ex-wives, so and I kept hitting these walls, and it took me weeks, and I found him. And he was at Port Macquarie, and he he answered the phone, and he had an old answering machine from the 70s, and it was all, and then he ended up ringing me back, and it was the greatest hour of my life just talking to Tommy. And I just said, mate, I said thank you so much, and this is what I've been doing, because I haven't spoken to him for a few years. I don't think I've seen him since 2000, so it's 20 years. And I just thanked him for everything, and we had a great chat, and I told him what I was up to, and I'm going to go and see him in a few weeks. And so that was great. So I was really lucky to have great people.
At the right time.
Yeah, I never did drugs. I've never had a joint. I think at the golf course days I could have gone that way, because a lot of the guys I worked with were always high as a kite, and the mechanic seemed to be the guy that was just not into that, and he was just a family man, and you don't want to be like those guys. And I'm like, okay, I'll do what you say, and I hung around him, and then so I missed that part, and I was just really lucky to have these three men, and they're still around.
That's good, mate.
Yeah, and you call on them if you need to.
Yeah.
Because just because you're 46 doesn't mean you've worked it out. You still need help.
Yeah.
We've still got crossroads, and we're still quite young. Hopefully we've got another 40 years to go.
Yeah.
So, hopefully that I can be one of those guys for people.
Yeah.
I've had my three men. I want to be one of those for a couple of people, because it was really good for me.
Yeah.
And I'm really lucky that I had the ability to find them. They were sort of like placed in front of me. It's just like, all right, you haven't got a great relationship with your own dad. Here's some guys that'll help you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And I made the most of it. And I think they liked it.
Certainly makes you think about the way you behave or even connect with people, particularly who are younger than you, who may be in that position you're in, and how your relationship with them and how you can lead and influence people. Makes you want to be better, doesn't it?
These three men were always very engaging with young people. Especially my uncle, who I still spend a bit of time with now. I remember being a young fella, and he'd spend time with me, asking me stuff, and and I thought it was really good, because most adults, just walk in and say hello, and then they to the kids, and then they hanging with the adults. So I was lucky to have people engaging with me as a young fella and spending time with me, and I think it's really important that we engage with not just our own kids, but with other kids. Because it's good if all these kids can cherry pick all the good bits off great adults, because there's a lot of great adults. So we need to share the love. And I like meeting new kids and other kids and giving them a high five and saying, what's going on in life? How's school?
Like you said, you don't forget those people.
You
as a kid, you don't forget the people who give you some attention and really, lead the way.
And it's funny, when I was a kid and my uncle lived in Sydney, so I was close to him, and then he moved to the Gold Coast and he'd been up here. So it's funny that he's the guy that I ran to when I had to, 17 years ago. The guy that was there for you as a kid is still there as an adult.
Yeah,
it's like, so you're just lucky to have that.
Life,
and that's just like, to me, that's luck. Like you can't choose your family you're born into.
Yeah.
And my family, they've got very good foundations. Yeah. We had good grandparents that just set really good foundations and were good people, and they brought up good children, and and hopefully we're good children to keep passing that on.
Yeah, lucky.
And that's lucky. Yeah. That's not something you can choose. We've all got dodgy family members. Yeah. Everyone's got one dodgy family member, and if you don't know who it is in your family, it's probably you. We've got one or two.
Is it you?
I can't tell you because that guy may be on social media. I hope it's not me. Maybe it is me.
What you've talked a lot about all good stuff. You've probably covered this before, but is there something you've learned, like a life lesson you've learned that others could benefit from, I think
we worry about a lot of things that never happen.
Yeah.
And I think we got to treat life as a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
We all want things now. We don't want to wait. We think, but we actually, even though they say life goes quick, we're still here for quite a long time.
Yeah.
So I just think we need to relax and take things slow and not want everything now. To get a $2 million mortgage and miss out on holidays and going out with your mates is just a terrible thing to do.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah.
You got all the time in the world to do that. I think we just need to slow down.
Yeah.
Smell the flowers.
Yeah.
I know people say it, but it's just so true.
Yeah, you've got to do it, don't you?
It's a marathon, not a sprint. That's what I think.
Great advice. Last question I've got for you is, and I like to ask this to everyone as well. What I know yours is a bit quirky and out there. So, I think morning routine sets people up for either success or failure on the day to day. What's your morning routine? What do you do when you wake up?
Well, I can't sleep in because I don't sleep well. So I'm up about 4:35, and I either go to training or I get up and get out. So I have to get out. I can't be the hang around the guy in the house all morning. I can go out for an hour and have a swim and a coffee, and if I'm not training, and come back and help with the get the kids off to school or go to training. So to me, is to do something.
And you at the point you wake up, you just get up and you get out of the house. It's get outside. Is that
I don't normally have breakfast. I just get up and get my clothes on and get out. I don't spend an hour doing my hair or makeup. I'm just like up and I'm out and making the most of it. The best part of the day is 5 a.m. I'm certain of it, and I have to be there. I can't. You don't want to be there. Wake up at 7, go, I missed it.
Yeah,
you've got to be there, whether it's rain, hail or shine. And I just like to get out. So I don't want to be at home. I want to be somewhere like here. You got the beach and training, so I've got to do something.
You go swimming a lot in the morning, don't you?
Nearly every day. Yeah. It's good for me. I think it keeps me healthy.
Yeah.
I've done it since I was being born on Manly Beach. I've always lived within, a kilometre of the beach. And I've always made the most of it. I think I don't get sick much because I think the ocean helps me. I get in there and I gargle and I get it in me and I get out, and I just think it's good for me. It's like a habit. I couldn't live too far away. I need to be near the beach to be able to, whether I've got to walk or drive, as long as I can get there each day. It's very important.
Great. It's great advice, mate. That's
It's very simple.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
That's the beauty of it, mate.
Yep, I'm a simple guy.
That's an hour with a simple guy right there.
That's me.
Mate, thank you so much for doing this. When I started doing this, I wanted to. I get to spend time with so many good people and who teach me a lot, and I think, how do I capture the wisdom and the message in people like this and share it with the world? if anyone's listening to this, this is it's been an hour of wisdom with Andy. So
I've enjoyed it too, Benny. Thanks very much.
thank you for your time.
Thanks, Benny.
Legend.
No worries.